So you got into Tesla because of the EVs, because you literally saw one in real life and you thought this is really, really cool. And then
Yeah,
over time, you've now shifted and you're thinking actually Tesla isn't an EV company, really, as
yeah,
you're
that's
seeing
the
them
reason.
change.
Yeah.
So you don't have to just pinpoint one thing if this is too difficult for you to answer. But if you had to say right now what you are most excited about from an investment point of view, which one thing that Tesla's working on or could potentially be working on in the future, which one thing excites you the most?
Robotaxi, hands down.
Oh, that was easy. Okay. Do you
Yeah,
want to tell
hands
me
down.
why that over Optimus or Energy or anything else?
My main thesis when I got into Tesla was because of the self-driving cars. I mean, here's the thing with self-driving cars, once they figure out there's three pillars. The one pillar is all Teslas around the world, at least in
Mhm.
developed countries. Once they see the data that this thing is like 20, 30 times better and safer than human driving, it's just stupid for them not to approve it. And obviously, once they approve it, Tesla can charge them a monthly subscription
Yeah.
software, which I think that's going to be the case. I think Tesla's going to remove the one-time fee. And it makes sense for them to do that.
Mhm.
So now you have a reoccurring revenue coming in every month, and now you have all of a sudden tens of millions of vehicles on the road that you can enable with a snap of a finger. So
Ready to go. Yeah.
it's an overnight thing. It's an overnight thing. So that's one pillar. The second pillar is the licensing.
Okay.
Once
Yeah.
this, if other automakers, I think the first automaker that's going to be licensing out Tesla's FSD, it has to be BYD. I mean,
Okay.
people are saying it's Ford, but how could
Uh-huh.
it be Ford when they're scaling back on EVs?
That's an
I just don't,
interesting take, actually. Yeah, I
you
like
know?
that. I've not, to be honest with you, I haven't really thought about it like that, but that makes
Yeah.
complete sense. Okay. Yeah.
This part I didn't understand. I don't think it's Ford. Maybe later on it could be, but I think the first
Mhm.
one will be BYD, that can license it, and then Tesla can help them manufacture it with the cameras and stuff because you have to have like software for that
Yeah.
and the specific cameras to do that. And the third pillar is the robotaxis. So you get this triple whammy once full self driving is completely solved or completed, and it's high margins. So robotaxi, why am I so excited on this? Is because first of all, it's going to bring down transportation. Like if you're in Uber, it's going to be like 5 to 6, up to 10 times cheaper
Yeah.
than a normal Uber. The fact that you could get into a car, you don't have to drive, and there's nobody in there, and you're paying so much less to get from point A to point B. Well, first of all, you don't need a car. That's more money in your pocket. You get your time back, and you don't have to, you don't have to spend so much money dealing with getting a car insurance and all these other things. And the robotaxi, I'm not too sure how Tesla's really going to do it. Well, Elon did mention in Q1 that there's going to be two different versions. There's going to be the Tesla fleet, which Tesla does it all by themselves. And I think after doing calculations and doing the cost and depreciation, they could be profiting around 30% as gross profit
Okay.
from it. But they can scale. Like they can,
Yeah.
like, and once they can scale, they can scale.
And Tesla scale well.
Here's the thing with Tesla. They know how to scale.
Yeah, like no one
That's
else.
just them. They just know how to do it better than anyone else. And the second part he said was like already customers who has Teslas, they can add it to the fleet and they can earn some money from it.
And
I don't
that's
know how
really cool. That's a cool business
that's
model.
cool, but how is that going, I don't
Might
know
not
how.
be immediate. Yeah.
Yeah, immediate. I think it's gonna be a slow gradual. There's gonna be some beta on it. Just like how
Yeah.
FSD beta was, they're gonna do a beta on it, and then they say, okay, we're very confident with our software, and if you're happy to put your car on the line,
Mhm.
and you do the insurance and everything is on you, we'll give you a cut of like 50% or something, or 70%. We'll see how this goes, and we'll evaluate and we'll see how we can scale this part of the business. But if if that's doable and realistic, well then all of a sudden you already have tens of million vehicles all around the world that people can just add it to the fleet and they make
And I
money
think
and Tesla
people
makes
would.
yeah. And now the question becomes at that time is not how many vehicles Tesla sells, it's how many software, how much is the conversion rate to the FSD, how much is the robotaxi uptake, then the licensing will come
Mhm.
after that. That is my only thesis of me investing into Tesla. The bots, I don't really care. Quite honestly, I don't care about the bot. I
Okay.
don't. I don't understand it. Is it being leased for 10,000 for each manufacturer? Then it gets so complicated. I tried doing the modeling. I just don't get it. And I've
Mhm.
watched other YouTubers like I think Herbert. He brought on CERN showing how
Yeah,
the
he's
Tesla
very
bot
intelligent
works,
with
and
his stuff. Yeah.
I'm just like I don't know. I just don't know. I can't process this.
Mhm.
Nor was it because of the energy. I didn't even get into Tesla because of energy. I didn't even know Tesla even had energy.
Existed. No, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, energy. Okay, now energy is kind of saving Tesla. If you look at the Q1
Yeah.
earnings, it's kind of
Yeah,
saving
true.
it, which is really good. But my only focus was the full self-driving. And I'm just like, in 5-10 years time, are we going to be having cars that drive themselves? Yes, I think we are.
I think it's a logical next step in society. I don't see and there's a lot of pushback, and I hear a lot of people say it's too dangerous, which obviously the whole point of it is to increase safety. So that's kind of doesn't make sense. And Elon and Tesla have such a name for themselves that they would never even if it was legal to, they would never allow themselves to put stuff on the road that isn't safe and hasn't got so much data to back it up. So there's that argument. There's the argument that another company will get to it first, which again, I think we both probably agree, like who, how, why, when, where. And then I also hear, and I'll throw this one back to you actually, because to be honest, I don't really have a solid answer for this. There's a lot of people that then say, okay, well, a lot of people really like driving, so they would not get on board with this. But I just think it's going to just shift, and it's not going to happen like that.
Well, ask them this. Okay, if you like driving so much, do you like driving to work every day? Same route, same route, half asleep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They say that. But then when they realize that, oh God, I have to drive to another city, it's like 2 hours long, I have to stare at a tarmac.
Yeah.
I think the answer will be different. The value here is that you're giving people back their time.
And time is money. If you can give someone back their time, they will pay for that.
Definitely. Especially when it comes to commuting. Oh my God. Personally, for me, I like long drives, but sometimes
I hate driving. I hate it. I'm ready for a robotaxi.
For me, when I'm driving, I'm just like, man, I've already driven this route 10,000 times. I don't want to drive. I don't want to drive. I want to edit my video, or I want to, go on X and post something, but I don't want to keep paying attention. In 5 years time, or I don't know when this Robotaxi is going to happen, or this August 8th, we'll see the cyber cab. Apparently it's not going to have anything. No drivers, no steering wheel, no pedals, nothing of that. If that's gonna be something that's gonna come to fruition, and it's just game over. The stock, I mean, oh my God. We're gonna look back at today's thing and go like today's stock price and say, oh my God, I was not financial advice, but I'm just saying,
Yeah, well, that's why we're both interested in this company, and we put our own money in the company because we believe in what they're doing. But the same thing, I mean, I wasn't around when this happened, and nor were you, but when there was a shift from horses to cars, the same thing would have been happening, right? Same thing.
Exactly.
It's too dangerous. It's not going to happen. It's too expensive. It's this, it's that. The shift happened because it had to. Civilization pushed towards that, and that's exactly what's going to happen again.
Yeah. Imagine back to the 1990s or 1920s or whenever this cars came in. Imagine the fun around the cars then. It's like, oh, you gotta put gas in this every 200 miles or something. A horse only needs grass. I think it go on for miles. I mean, you don't need a car. That's just ridiculous. But then, hey, things change big time.
Yeah. What do you think will happen in terms of where do you think the Robotaxi will be launched first?
I think it'll be the same places as where Waymo is right now. The places that they are allowed
Select
to do
states
it.
Within,
Yeah. I think it'll start there I think one is in Phoenix, one is in San Francisco, and some other cities as well are slowly allowing this. I think they will start there with a small fleet and check, see how it is. And then all Tesla needs to do, and I mean, the good thing about Tesla is that they're not going to be geofenced unlike the others. So I think Tesla can have a competitive advantage here by going to places that this thing can't go to. So once that's successful, I think Tesla can easily scale that up and go like, okay, that was not that bad. We can take it up a notch. And then I'm debating either this happens first or China happens first.
That's what I was going to ask you next. Okay. Yeah.
This, because they just made a deal. I'm pretty sure you're aware as well that with Baidu, they made it in China. They're moving really fast with it. But I think China already has a robotaxi thing going along already. Baidu is doing it already.
Yeah.
So the concept there is already happening. I think at a much wider scale than the US. Not too sure. You guys can fact check me in the comments below, or Haley, if you can fact check me on this as well. If they're doing this already in China, I can see Tesla starting in China sooner than starting in the US. Now, will it be the existing vehicle that they have there, or will it be the next gen robotaxi that's coming out? That is the question.
Yeah. So I'm kind of with you on that in terms of the select number of states that the infrastructure is already in place, because that is the easiest pathway. I think it will take a much longer amount of time to roll this out. For example, in Europe, in the UK, the regulatory pushback on that will be a lot bigger than it is in China or in select states in America.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see that China got it first before Europe. I'm just like, that's not right.
Yeah, I feel like we're quite behind over here in terms of innovation at the moment. We're not really pushing innovation as much as we should. And it's a whole conversation on its own, but I still think it will happen. I just think it's going to take a lot longer.
Yeah, I mean, once the data comes in and shows that,
Yeah.
we should probably do it.
Otherwise, what's going to happen? People are going to want it. People are going to want it.